I hope all is well. So I have to apologize. I went live on yesterday. This is going to be part 2 of Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover. I did not realize literally until this morning that the live had cut off 4 minutes into the live. So this is part 2. I hope that obviously there were some difficulties I didn't even realize that was going on. I'm actually going in the same route, so hope that it's not the route in which I'm going, that there is a disconnect. So let me get right on into it. I hope everybody had a great weekend. And so this is part 2 of Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover. And so I was cut off. I was getting more into the personal aspect of how I had been judging a situation, not knowing what was really going on until I found myself in a similar situation. So what I was talking about was how so three years ago, I had a friend of mine contact me, and there was an incident going on between her and her children's father, and they lived together. At the time, their youngest was still in the hospital. They had an infant, and she was still in the hospital. He was still in the hospital, becoming stronger, and they had 3 children at the house. And she called me, and on the day that she called me, and I had no clue as to, and do we ever, right? Had no clue on what was going on in their home. I have been judging the book by the exterior. And so she called me and she said, "Hey, sis, how are you?" I said, "I'm good." And I was at my part-time. And she said to me, she said, I just called you because there was an incident that happened, and I hit him. I punched him. I balled up my fist and I punched him, and I knocked him down. And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And she said, "That's what I did." And here I am judging a book. And I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, where are you now?" She said, "I'm actually in the parking lot where you work. I just needed a place just to come and decompress." And in that instant, I looked at it as, well, she called me because I guess I was a safe person for her to call. And I was grateful for that, but I judged because she also told me, I said, "Well, where is he?" She said, "Well, he's home." I said, "Well, what do you mean you punched him?" She said, "He was saying some things, and I balled up my fist and I punched him and I knocked him down." And I said, "Oh." And she said, the police were called. But what I found interesting was no one was arrested. She wasn't arrested. He wasn't arrested because he was still in the home. But in that instance, and I hope my sis is watching, I judged because I was saying to myself, and I'm being real transparent, like, how could you do that? How could you put your children in a situation like that where they could possibly be taken out of the home. That's where my mind went. That's where my mind went. And I was standing in a place of judgment. How dare I? Right? And so that was that. Here I am, 3 years later, and I'm announcing to the family that I'm recently divorced. 14 years of marriage, recently divorced. And the last 6 years of the marriage was not safe. It was not healthy. It was not whole. But I had been doing my lives, been talking about my family unit, and I wasn't being fake, I wasn't being phony, but I was projecting a image, like back in the day, because we're talking about judging a book, or not to judge a book by its cover. Remember back in the day, in my generation, how we had book covers. We had that solid book, right? And it was usually a hardcover book. And we would cover the book with a book cover, usually made out of a paper brown bag. And later on, they came out with fancy book covers. But usually it was a paper brown bag, and we fit it just so it was perfect. And we would write the title of the book and the subject of the book, but it was not the original book cover. It was a protective piece. And so that's what I had done really for the last 6 years of my marriage, right? Folks looking at my marriage saw the protective book cover, saw the covering of the actual original, right, book. And inside the actual original book, the last 6 years of my 14-year marriage, I had pages that had been torn. I had been pages that had been written on. I had pages that were missing. And you didn't see that. I didn't allow anyone to see that. My book was closed. And what folks were able to see was the book cover. I am here to tell you that if you are in, and I am in no way telling people to end their relationship, end their marriages. I believe in the institution of marriage still. But if you are in a place in your relationship, in your marriage in particular, that you don't know what to expect when you come home, you're on pins and needles, you don't know the conversation that may take place, it is no longer a safe place. It's not safe for you. It's not, if you have children, it's no longer a safe place for your marriage. And when I say not a safe place, I'm talking about emotionally. You are no longer safe in your home, in your relationship, in your marriage. Physically, you may not be safe in your marriage, in your home. Emotionally, you are no longer safe. It is time to close or write the last page of that book and close it. It is time. And so that is what I did. that is what I did. Um, I'm the kind of person that when I love hard. And, as a woman, that's what we do, right? We're nurturers. That's what we do. And, again, I just, wanted to share that with the family. Again, the video, the live went out on yesterday. So I wanted to just come this morning and go over what it was I was talking about, and the importance of not judging a book by its cover. It may look a certain way, and that's just folk, right? Like we don't we protect what is near and dear to us, right? And we protect it, and we try to safeguard it. It's not about being phony and trying to make it seem like things are sweet and peaches and cream, but you protect what is near and dear to you. But again, don't judge a book by its cover. I did that with other people, and I feel that I needed to be transparent to the family, and just let them know a little bit about what was really going on in my 14 years of marriage in the last 6 years. I am happily divorced. There is no anger, animosity towards my ex-husband. I wish him the best. I wish him well, because at the end of the day, he's still the children. He's still the husband, or the father, not the husband, not the children. He's still the father of our children. So there is no anger, no animosity. I wish him nothing but the best in life. And, I'm able to do that when the Lord released me from that. When the Lord told me that it was time to end it, and he released me from it. Not me doing it out of emotion or out of anger, but when he released me, then it was done with ease. No animosity, no anger. So that's what this live was about on yesterday. Make sure you tune in next Sunday, where I will go live again. Family, remember, be great to yourself, because you are great. Be great to your family. They deserve your greatness. Be great to your community. Without love, self-love first, we have absolutely nothing. And as always, clarity is key, but without consistency, we have no balance. Please get in the comments, like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the notification button so that you'll be notified when I go live on Sundays. What else? Comment. Give me some feedback about this video, or any other lives that I have, or any other videos that I have done. Family, be well.